We also have a celebrity, and it was opened by Craig Revel Horwood. Yes, that's right, he of Strictly Come Dancing, but also you might recall he was in Panto at the Mayflower last year with the Chuckle Brothers. His tradition, or rather his duties, was to open a show, and he did it traditionally. He had a bottle of Exton Park in one hand, and in the other he had a long knife, almost a sword. And the idea is to scrape the knife along the bottle and take off the cork. Before he did this, Craig revealed that not only does he live in Hampshire, but he has enough land of the right quality to start his own vineyard, and in about 8 years he will be producing his own bottles of Hampshire Fizz. Quite a story. He'll talk about it in a moment, but first of all, let's see how he did with the bottle and the sword.
Officially, darling. Now open the Hampshire Fizz Fest. Drink and make merry, you gorgeous people. Hurrah!
Craig, I'd just like to mention on behalf of VoiceFM, we went to see you at Pantomime in Sleeping Beauty, and the reviewer I went with, Jenny, said you had amazingly expressive hands. And is that something... Are you surprised by that, or is that something you quite focus on?
Well, because I'm, number one, in drag and playing a woman, I try to express myself, yes, because the costumes are very tight, darling, and I'm normally have high heels and a fishtail on, so one can't express themselves directly through legs. So you have to be able to do it through your arms. And I do try to make them pretty and girly. So yes, I do have expressive hands, and I use them. And I do talk about that a lot on Strictly Come Dancing. I do not like anyone that can't use their body to tell a story. So it's a great thing. And of course, here at the Hampshire Fizz Fest, everyone's expressing themselves quite well, I think, after being oiled, darling, with a few bubbles.
Yep. No, they are doing very well, and it's an amazing achievement, what they're putting together here, but it's also fascinating about the wine itself. But my hand question leads on to you at home, because I know you've got a great kitchen. I know you love cooking. So does English wine yet feature in the meals that you make?
Yes, it does. It features heavily in my seafood lasagna recipe, as a matter of fact, bizarrely, because I like it light and frothy and fluffy, and people think that it's a real waste of, good bubbles to put that in, with a white wine sauce. But I absolutely love it. And plus, I think it's really great promoting English sparkling wines, because we live on the same chalk plate that runs from Champagne in France all the way through Hampshire, through Kent to Hampshire. And it just so happens that my house is on that very same chalk plate. So it's wonderful to be able to put a small vineyard together at my house. And hopefully in 6 or 7 years, before I'm 60, or even if it's my 60th, or even in my 60th year, darling, I will be more than likely sipping back my own gorgeous bubbles. And I've tasted so many of them, and they're award-winning, and they're fantastic, and even better than some of my favourites, like Laurent Perrier Rosé, Veuve Clicquot, all of those, the Champagne region ones, have the Hampshire ones have won awards above and beyond, the ones of the old favourites like Veuve, and it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So I think it's a great thing to promote, particularly with Brexit coming up, and also for Hampshire, and in fact all of English sparkling wines. A lot of people have put their hearts and their souls into doing this, and it's a big commitment. It's 8 years before you get your first, vintage bottle, and that's a long time to wait, and there's a lot of hard slog and a lot of blood, sweat and tears and a lot of money that goes into it, so and it's a wonderful, because of climate change probably, we're getting much better longer summers, the fruit's ripening better, and of course this wonderful chalk plate that provides the necessary drainage that you need to grow those particular grapes. So I'm delighted to be part of it, and delighted to actually open a Fizz festival. I think that's cooler, way cooler than anything else I do. And just seeing people around enjoying themselves and celebrating English sparkling wine.
I can imagine in 6 or 7 years' time you could be actually exhibiting here yourself. There's a wealth of experience here. I'm sure everyone's going to give you advice, but there's one thing
that's going to be personal to yourself, and that's going to be the name of the wine itself. Have you got a name ready for it yet?
Well, I have, but I think you have to try it first. I think you have to know what your product is before you label it in that way. Yeah, of course, I could have strictly CRH's, fabulous brew, couldn't I? And this bottle is not a disaster. I mean, I could use every catchphrase in the book. But I think it definitely needs to be about where it's from. And, of course, this is a region called Middlecott. And it will be something to do with that, I would imagine. But I think it's really worth tasting it first and then choosing a label. But, what fun as well. I mean, I'm only a small vineyard and producing probably like 10,000 bottles a year, which isn't a lot, on 3 to 4 acres. So it's we're starting small and then seeing how it goes. But it's a great interest to me. And I think, because it grows so well over here, why not muck in and enjoy what Britain has to offer.
Well, I think you're absolutely right, because if I had the money, I'd do it exactly the same as yourself. Hampshire sparkling wines is fantastic. In one word, how would you sum it up?
Fabulous. Had to be, darling, didn't it?